Hey guys, this is just gonna be a short 10-minute video. Um, my brother passed away a couple months ago, and one of our last interactions was that he said that he had my book, which was his book, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I don't know why I ended up with it, but I've been trying to find something to do with this whole staying inside a lot more thing and like having more time to ourselves. But if I'm being honest, this is probably my ideal life. No, probably not. Thank you for everyone that is doing what they're doing, all the essential employees, and really anyone, uh, doctors, nurses, all that. So, this book is called King Solomon's Mines. It's I'll read the back. Three men set out to find the world's most fabulous treasure, if it even exists. On the way, they must cross burning deserts and freezing mountains, face hostile tribes, and overcome ancient superstitions, warring armies and witches' curses as they search for lost diamonds and lost men. Or is it only a haunting legend that hurls them to danger after danger? Okay, so this might be a series I do. I might only do one episode or one video, but let's just jump into it. I'm gonna read for about 10 minutes. Um, the first chapter is called "The Legend of Solomon's Mines." You know what? Actually, this episode of this video, I'm going to read about the author. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go over the contents. So I'm going to show you the contents, and then just read them. The Legend of Solomon's Mines, page 7. We meet Umbopa, page 25. We march into the desert, page 35. And I just decided that it'd be ridiculous to go all of them. So again, I'll show you one more time if you want to look. You can pause the video and look. I'm just going to scan the titles. Okay. About the author. This is where we'll start. H. Rider Haggard was born in England in 1856. He had 5 older brothers and 4 sisters. His father, a country gentleman, was strict with his children. Rider was a quiet boy who never liked school and didn't do well in his studies, but he did like to read. Robinson Crusoe was his favorite book, along with The Three Musketeers and Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. As a tall, thin young man of 14, Rider sailed to South Africa as a government clerk. It was a time when England had colonies around the world. After a few years, Rider quit his job and began to raise ostriches. When he was 24, he returned to England and married his wife Louisa. They had a son, Jock, and 3 daughters. Rider wrote novels about his experiences in Africa. In those days, parts of Africa had not been explored and were very mysterious. Haggard became a lawyer, but his novels brought him fame and fortune. Robert Louis Stevenson had just written Treasure Island. Rider also wanted to publish an adventure for boys, so in 1885 he wrote King, Solomon's Mines. Wow. King Solomon's Mines. Sorry. It was very popular. Rider traveled to lands over the world, including Egypt and Iceland. While he and Louisa were in Mexico looking for ancient treasure, they found out that 10-year-old Jock had died from measles. His son's death hurt Rider very deeply. In America, Haggard met Teddy Roosevelt. Back home in England, he worked with the government to help solve farm problems. He wrote many more novels, a total of 34. Most were set in foreign lands and told of gripping adventures. H. Rider Haggard died in 1925 at the age of 69. Okay, here we go. It opens with this picture. It says, I met 2 men on a ship. And chapter 1, The Legend of Solomon's Mines. Okay, so to do a quick, non-accurate recap, our author was very adventurous. and he liked to write adventure stories placed in foreign lands, which I'm assuming that's what we're gonna find in King Solomon's Mines. Chapter 1: The Legend of Solomon's Mines. I first met Sir Henry Curtis and Captain John Good on a ship that was sailing along the coast of South Africa. I was returning home after some bad luck on an elephant hunt beyond Bamguanwato. Everything went wrong that trip. Plus, I came down with a fever. I wasn't so young anymore. I needed to take time off and rest. I was settling toward my home in Durban, farthest to the north. I got to talking with the two men on the ship. The first, Sir Henry, was a tall, well-built man. I'm going to pause. I think that might be Sir Henry. I'm not sure. It looks kind of creepy, so probably someone else. A tall, well-built man of about 30. He had blonde hair and a thick blonde beard and deep-set gray eyes. He reminded me strongly of somebody else, but I couldn't remember who it was. I knew right away that the second man was the naval officer. That's the guy. This is the naval officer. Captain Good was about the same age as his friend, but short and stout. He had dark hair and was clean-shaven. Something about the way he moved around on the ship told me he had been at sea a great deal. He always wore a monocle clenched in his right eye socket and had a beautiful set of false teeth. "You're Alan Quartermain, aren't you, sir?" "You're Alan Quartermain, aren't you?" Sir Henry Curtis asked as the three of us sat down at dinner. I said I was. Not much more was said at dinner, but afterwards Sir Henry invited me back to his cabin to talk. "You were in Bamguanto 2 years ago, weren't you?" Curtis asked. "Only one man that I know of has ever crossed there." "Promise not to reveal," it says. Pictures of the three men talking. "Tell us what you've heard," Sir Henry said. "I will, but only if you promise not to reveal anything I tell you." "Certainly," they both said. I told them that years ago I'd heard about spectacular ruins that exist in those remote and wild lands. The Solomon Mountains, I was told, were especially interesting. "Why were they so interesting?" Captain Good asked. "Solomon is Arabic for Solomon." "Solomon is Arabic for Solomon," I said. This could have been the place where King Solomon got his fabulous wealth. I told them that beyond the Solomon Mountains lived a tribe of peoples related to the Zulus, but even taller. There lived among them great wizards who knew the secrets of the bright stones that were dug out of a mine there. I had laughed at these tales at the time, but later when diamonds were discovered in South Africa, I began to wonder. "But King Solomon's mines could be anywhere," Sir Henry said. "How would any ever find them?" "Wait," I said. "I haven't gotten to the strangest part of all." Some years ago, I told them I was hunting back in the countryside. I'd become very ill with a fever and could hardly get out of bed. I met a Portuguese trader, a very polite gentleman. He was tall and thin, with dark eyes and a curling mustache. His name was Jose Silvestre. Jose Silvestre. We became friendly. When he left for the interior, he said, "Goodbye, my friend. If we meet again, I'll be the richest man in the world." I was too weak to laugh at his joke. I watched him head out toward the desert. I wondered if he was mad. What did he think he would possibly find there? A week later, I was feeling better. One evening, as the red sun was sinking into the desert, I saw a man approaching. He must have been a European because he wore a coat. That picture underneath it says the richest man in the world. So I'm assuming the guy at the fence is our main character that's been talking, and that's his friend that said, "If you see me again, I'll be rich." The richest man in the world. Okay, so I didn't. There's a memory problem going on with my phone. I've only got 2 minutes left, so I'll probably read another page or so, and then we'll continue on the next one. Okay. He staggered, then dropped to his hands and knees. It was Jose Silvestre. There wasn't much left of him. He was just a skeleton and some skin. His face was yellow with fever. His eyes stood nearly out of his head. Sorry. Okay, so this is a week later and Jose's back. And he's not looking good. His face was yellow with fever. His eyes stood nearly out of his head. His hair had gone white. "Water!" he cried. His lips were cracked. His tongue black and swollen. "Water!" I gave him some water with a little milk in it. He drank 2 quarts without stopping. Then the fever took over, and he began to rave about Solomon's mountains, and the diamonds, and the desert. I did what I could for him, but I knew he was sure to die. He slept through the night. In the morning, the rays of the sun hit the tallest of the Solomon Mountains. "There it is," Jose Silvestre said, pointing with his thin arm, "but I will never reach it. No one will." I wondered what he meant. "Are you there?" he said. My eyes grew dark. "I'm here," I said. "You must rest." "I'm dying," he said. Okay, so that's all we got for you. I'm gonna probably have to figure out this memory issue. But talk to you next time. Enjoy. I don't know.